Chapter 153 The Vanished Contract. Wu Feng wore a face of embarrassment, expressing his helplessness. As a man, I have no need for such trivialities. Indeed. Su Xianyan nodded, the latest Bluetooth model, utterly unnecessary for a man like you. Could it be big sisters? Wu Feng suddenly interjected. What? Big sisters? Su Xianyan looked at Wu Feng with extreme astonishment. Yes. Wu Feng nodded. Last time Big Sister came back, after dinner, she stayed in my room. It wasn't until she fell asleep that I took her away. Oh. Su Xianyan nodded heavily. Case solved. Yes, case solved. Wu Feng also nodded. So that's it. Su Xianyan smiled. Wu Feng's expression suddenly changed, his gaze falling on Su Xianyan's hand. Xianyan, isn't this inappropriate? How do you know it's the latest model? I. Su Xianyan hurriedly discarded the item, turning away with folded arms. Why do you care so much? Ha ha. Wu Feng revealed a wicked smile. Only a seasoned user would understand so much so. It seems you also have a similar one, sharing a hobby with Big Sister. I certainly don't. Su Xianyan quickly turned her head, her cheeks instantly reddening like ripe tomatoes. Smack. Wu Feng reached out, directly patting her buttocks. Ah. Su Xianyan's body trembled, emitting a tender cry. Wu Feng said, Do you also keep it on your bedside table? I absolutely don't have that thing. Su Xianyan shook her head frantically. Wu Feng circled around to face her, smiling. You're blushing for no reason? Still claiming innocence? I just don't. Su Xianyan continued to shake her head, quickly turning away to avoid eye contact with Wu Feng. Wu Feng walked out of the room directly. I'll just go to your room and take a look, maybe it's in your room. Upon hearing this, Su Xianyan became anxious, rushing over to hug Wu Feng. Don't go, there's nothing in my room. In an instant, Wu Feng experienced the unique sensation brought by Su Xianyan's soft body, tender and yielding. What are you afraid of if there's nothing? Wu Feng turned around, smiling as he lifted her chin, burning hot. Su Xianyan gently rubbed her legs, speaking in a very gentle voice. Feng, let's just find the contract, shall we? All right. Wu Feng nodded. Let's focus on finding the contract first. Su Xianyan nodded repeatedly, her obedient demeanor resembling a little quail. All right, you go to your room and search. I won't peek at your privacy. Wu Feng smiled, patting her little head. Okay. Su Xianyan finally let go of Wu Feng, hurriedly running back to her own room. She immediately opened the bedside table, stuffing the identical egg under the pillow. As she turned around, she suddenly realized that Wu Feng, shamelessly, was standing outside the door, peeking through the crack. Wu Feng! Su Xianyan shouted loudly, stomping her foot in frustration. Ha ha! Wu Feng burst into laughter. Ah! I'll beat you to death. Su Xianyan was genuinely upset, rushing out and pounding Wu Feng's chest with her small fists. You scoundrel, you promised not to peek. Wu Feng grabbed her fists, saying very seriously, Xianyan, in the future, I can help you with these things too. You. Su Xianyan's cheeks flushed even more, and in an instant, her heart stirred with ripples. Whispering softly in her ear, Wu Feng said, Come to my room tonight. In that moment, Su Xianyan felt her body weaken, instinctively leaning towards Wu Feng, her eyes closing. But Wu Feng turned around and left, dropping a sentence. Let's focus on finding those billion-dollar contracts first. You naughty brother. Su Xianyan glared at Wu Feng with resentment, then followed his footsteps downstairs. The siblings searched until the afternoon, but found nothing. Could our house have been robbed? Su Xianyan wondered. Impossible. Wu Feng shook his head. There are surveillance cameras all over the house, equipped with facial recognition. Once someone enters, it will alert me. Did you check the surveillance? Su Xianyan asked. I did. Wu Feng nodded. That's strange then, could the contracts have vanished into thin air? Su Xianyan tilted her head, snuggling the bull terrier in her arms. Sitting on the sofa, Wu Feng lit a cigarette, pondering slowly over everything. Suddenly, he asked, Xianyan, if you were a thief, how would you steal the contract without being detected? Surely, by bypassing the surveillance. Su Xianyan said without hesitation. Yes. Wu Feng suddenly had an epiphany, my foot. Su Xianyan poked Wu Feng's head with her small finger. Are you daft? Our surveillance system has no blind spots. No. Wu Feng shook his head, immediately opening his laptop and accessing the local surveillance footage. They checked from the time they left last night and everything seemed normal. The nanny had left the villa early last night. The surveillance footage inside the house remained empty, all the images identical. No problem. Su Xianyan said. Still not right. Wu Feng shook his head, repeatedly checking the surveillance during that time period. Finally, Wu Feng discovered something fishy. The video had been tampered with. In one segment, the bull terrier ran downstairs and lay on the sofa. But in the next segment, the bull terrier disappeared from the sofa. This indicated a problem with the surveillance video. Wu Feng immediately accessed the backend and checked the operation records of the surveillance hard drive. And indeed, he found an issue: someone had deleted a half-hour segment of the surveillance and then overwritten the previous half-hour footage. If one didn't pay attention to the detail of the bull terrier, there would be no problem with the surveillance for the entire night. What can be deleted can also be recovered in hard drive storage, only differing in time and technicality. Wu Feng tapped on the computer interface rapidly, the entire screen filled with code. Wow! Su Xianyan on the sofa watched wide-eyed, suddenly finding her younger brother's keyboard work quite handsome. Done! Wu Feng finally pressed the enter key one last time. The deleted segment of the video was restored. The video showed two people sneaking into the villa. Their method of entry was unique, first installing a signal jammer to ensure the facial recognition system wouldn't alarm Wu Feng. Then, they entered the villa, found the contracts, and tampered with the video. After leaving, they took away the signal jammer. Everything they did was seamless, except for the detail of the bull terrier lying on the sofa. Good heavens, thieves really did come in. Su Xianyan looked at Wu Feng in utter amazement. Yes. Wu Feng nodded. A break-in at home is the worst possibility we could think of, but unfortunately, it happened. Does this mean it was someone from the Lu family? Su Xianyan asked. We can't be sure. Wu Feng shook his head, but the fact that the contracts are missing, the people from the Lu family should be quite pleased right now. How despicable. Su Xianyan shook her head. These people are truly shameless. Wu Feng closed the laptop, picked up his phone, and contacted the property manager. The thieves wore masks throughout, making it impossible to identify them. However, they couldn't have hidden from the surveillance cameras when entering the community. Soon, the property manager arrived and provided Wu Feng with a copy of the surveillance footage from the entire night before. After several screenings, Wu Feng finally found the license plate number of the thieves' vehicle. He immediately began tracing the license plate number. Chapter 150 for the two regular offenders from the Wu family. Su Xianyan stood behind Wu Feng, excitedly saying, as long as we find the license plate number, these big thieves won't be able to hide. We'll definitely find them and know who's behind them. Wu Feng shook his head. You're wrong. What? Su Xianyan looked at Wu Feng in surprise. Leaning back on the sofa, Wu Feng lit another cigarette, deep in thought once again. What's wrong? Is there a problem? Su Xianyan looked at Wu Feng earnestly. Wu Feng crossed his legs, shaking his head. The license plate number is fake. Ah? Su Xianyan looked embarrassed. So, the lead ends there. At the moment, yes, Wu Feng nodded. Sigh. Su Xianyan sighed deeply, feeling extremely disappointed. Let's think of other ways. Wu Feng flicked the ash from his cigarette. Actually, he knew this matter was definitely related to the Lu family. However, without evidence, the people from the Lu family wouldn't admit it. Even if it was brought up to the old master, there would be no evidence to support it. I didn't expect these thieves to be so meticulous. Su Xianyan shook her head, quickly reaching out to massage Wu Feng's shoulders. It's okay, little sister, I appreciate your support, let's keep going. Yeah. Su Xianyan nodded, let's go. Wu Feng reviewed all the videos once again. This time, he finally found a mistake made by the thieves. After stealing everything, the two thieves left the villa. But when they left the community, they took off their masks. They thought they were safe, but they forgot about the surveillance camera on the billboard outside the community, which was in high definition. Wu Feng immediately took a screenshot of the video, and a picture of the faces of the two thieves appeared. We found them. Su Xianyan jumped up excitedly, hugging Wu Feng tightly. Overwhelmed with excitement, Wu Feng chuckled. Let me ask you, now that we know what these two look like, what's the next step? Of course, expose them and let the police catch them. Su Xianyan said. Ha ha. Wu Feng laughed. Xianyan, you're still too young. What's wrong? Su Xianyan looked at Wu Feng in confusion. Wu Feng said, my fourth sister is a cop, do we really need to report this? Right. Su Xianyan nodded. Wu Feng immediately sent the photo to Mu Jiejia. Fourth sister, help me check these two people. 5 minutes later, Mu Jiejia called. Thank goodness you sent the message early, I was just about to go on a mission. How is it, did you find them? Wu Feng hurriedly asked. Of course. Mu Jiejia nodded. Did something happen at home? Yeah. Wu Feng nodded. You're so clever, you guessed it right away. These two are called Hu Shi and Hu Huan, notorious thieves on the police's wanted list. Mu Jiejia said so, they're repeat offenders. Wu Feng nodded. No wonder their methods are so skillful. Mu Jiejia asked again, both of them have been to prison 3 times, always engaging in petty thefts. Do you want me to help you catch them? No need. Wu Feng shook his head. I'll handle it myself, it's not a big deal. Alright then. Be careful, let me know if you need any help. Mu Jiejia said. Okay, thanks, fourth sister, stay busy. Wu Feng hung up the phone. When he turned around, Su Xianyan was already dressed in a writer's uniform. What are you doing? Wu Feng looked at her in surprise. Of course, I'm going out to handle things. Su Xianyan smiled. Catching thieves, I have to go too. Really? Wu Feng frowned. Fourth sister, are you addicted? Su Xianyan nodded repeatedly. Watching you guys fight with that Huerbi last night, it looked really fun. Wu Feng shook his head repeatedly. Is it interesting for a girl like you to engage in such violence? Su Xianyan smiled and said, little brother, I'm just joining in the fun. Besides, there's no danger in such activities, right? There's indeed not much danger. Wu Feng shook his head, but strength in numbers. Su Xianyan said, I can at least help you guys keep an eye on things. Wu Feng, but no buts, I'll ride my own motorcycle and won't bother you. Su Xianyan said with a smile. When did you buy a motorcycle? Wu Feng looked at her in confusion, completely unaware of this matter. A few days ago, I bought it online. Su Xianyan smiled. Fans on Kuayin wanted to see me ride a motorcycle. I'll livestream our ride together later. Wu Feng shrugged helplessly. Alright. Since you're my sister, as long as you're happy. Thank you, little stinker. Su Xianyan hugged Wu Feng and the two walked out hand in hand. In the garage, 2 large motorcycles rode out of the gate. Wu Feng rode the Kawasaki H2R, while Su Xianyan rode the BMW RR. Once the 2 motorcycles hit the road, their engines roared freely. Su Xianyan even started racing with Wu Feng. The difference in performance between the 2 motorcycles wasn't that big. Slow down, you're not in a race. Wu Feng shouted. I got it. Su Xianyan shouted back loudly, while also showing off to her fans in the live broadcast, boasting about how she was outperforming Cold Front's Kawasaki H2R. The fans in the live broadcast room were thrilled. I knew it, when a woman looks cool, men are nothing. Su Xianyan riding a motorcycle is much cooler than that Pulu. Su Xianyan, when can I ride on the back of your motorcycle? Half an hour later, Wu Feng and Su Xianyan arrived at the urban village on their motorcycles. Heiming and his little brothers were waiting at the entrance of the village, their motorcycles parked nearby. Wu Feng parked his motorcycle, took off his helmet, and threw a cigarette box to Heiming. Thanks, Master Feng. Heiming smiled, taking out a cigarette and handing them out to his little brothers. How's it going? Wu Feng lit a cigarette, casually asking Heiming. Heiming said, we've checked it out. These two are currently soaking in the bathhouse. They'll probably have a spa treatment later, so they won't be going far anytime soon. That's good. Wu Feng nodded in satisfaction. Heiming asked again, I asked the boss. These 2 guys usually don't spend money on baths, but today they went all out. They must have come into a lot of money. Master Feng, rest assured, the area around the bathhouse is surrounded by defense men. No1, not even a fly, can get out. Heiming said. That's right. Wu Feng nodded, let's go. Alright. Everyone put on their helmets and rode into the red romantic bathhouse in the urban village. During the afternoon, the bathhouse was relatively quiet, with only a few customers. As soon as Wu Feng and the others entered, the manager hurriedly greeted them. "Master Ming, you're here. No time for nonsense, take us to find Hu Shi and Hu Huan." Wu Feng said. "Who is this?" the manager asked He Ming quietly. He Ming immediately said, "This is my boss, do as he says." "All right." The manager nodded and gestured. "The two brothers are in room 308 upstairs. You guys can go up and find them directly." Without further ado, Wu Feng was the first to charge up to the second floor, with He Ming and his brothers following closely behind. Bang! Wu Feng kicked open the door to room 308. Screams echoed from the room. Hu Shi and Hu Huan, who were enjoying themselves on the bed, jumped up in fright when they saw Wu Feng's terrifying face, their faces turning pale with fear. Without any hesitation, the two brothers, still naked, jumped out of the window and ran. "This is obviously guilty conscience." He Ming rushed to the windowsill to catch them, but was stopped by Wu Feng. "Master Feng, are we just letting them go like this?" He Ming asked in confusion. Wu Feng smiled, pointing outside and said, "See for yourself." He Ming looked out the window and saw Hu Huan and Hu Shi, the two brothers, fall to the ground after jumping off, looking like a mess. The group of De Fei's men who had been waiting nearby immediately subdued the Hu brothers on the spot. "Master Feng, Master Ming." De Fei, standing downstairs, waved to the two. "Ha ha." Wu Feng laughed, praising De Fei. "Well done." "Thank you for your praise, Master Feng." De Fei's face was filled with a smile, while he shouted to his men, "Hold them down, don't let these two bastards escape." "Is that it?" He Ming shrugged helplessly. He thought that this time they would show off a bit, but as soon as they arrived, the two were caught in no time. Without further adu, Wu Feng and He Ming immediately went downstairs and sat on the sofa in the lobby of the bathhouse. On the other side, De Fei and his brothers forcefully brought Hu Huan and Hu Shi to the main entrance. "Kneel down." De Fei extended his foot and kicked, forcing Hu Huan and Hu Shi to kneel on the ground. Hu Huan was a middle-aged man with a big head and a fat belly. Hu Shi, on the other hand, was the opposite, skinny like a monkey. "Master Feng, have you mistaken us?" Hu Huan spoke, looking very innocent. Hu Shi also said, "Master Feng, we and you have never met before, why are you looking for us?" Wu Feng smiled, "Why did you two run away?" Hu Huan and Hu Shi looked at each other, both saying at the same time, "We thought the police were here." "Is that so?" Wu Feng smiled, "So, you two are seasoned criminals?" Yes. Hu Huan nodded, "Just because of this, our brothers have been inside before." "Yes." Hu Shi said, "We were arrested for massage." Wu Feng waved his hand, "No need for idle talk, you two know why I'm looking for you." Hu Huan and Hu Shi looked at each other again, both remaining silent. They thought they had committed the theft flawlessly and couldn't possibly be discovered. Wu Feng continued, "What you say and what you don't say are two different matters." Hu Huan asked, "Master Feng, what do you mean?" Hu Shi also said, "Master Feng, you're a big shot, we really don't dare to play dumb in front of you." "Humph." Wu Feng snorted, waving his hand, "He Ming, give them a lesson." "Yes." He Ming nodded. Without saying a word, he approached with a military knife and stabbed it directly into Hu Huan's hand. Hu Huan let out a miserable scream, his hand covered in blood, shaking all over. At this point, Hu Shi was already trembling with fear. In the end, the two brothers were just low-level thieves, definitely top-notch in stealing, but far from as ruthless as those in the underworld, and they were also timid when it came to doing things. "Now, do you have anything to say to me?" Wu Feng asked. Hu Huan shook his head, "Master Feng, I really..." Wu Feng waved to He Ming, indicating him to continue. "Yes." He Ming nodded. Without saying a word, he twisted the knife again. The blade tore through the wound, and Hu Huan let out a piercing scream. "Ah! I'll talk. Under the pressure, Hu Shi suddenly shouted, "I'll tell you everything, please spare our lives, Master Feng." "Ha ha ha." Wu Feng laughed, flicking the cigarette ash, quietly watching Hu Huan and Hu Shi. Hu Shi quickly said, "It was Hu Erbi who gave us the money and asked us to steal from your house." Yes. Hu Huan nodded, "Our money is all in the cabinet upstairs. We just finished bathing and haven't had time to spend it yet." At this time, the manager hurried upstairs and soon took out a briefcase from the dressing room. "Open it." Wu Feng waved his hand. The manager immediately opened the briefcase, which was full of cash. There were probably several 100,000 at least, if not 3 to 5 million. Master Feng, have mercy. Hu Huan let out a sorrowful sob. Hu Shi also pleaded, we'll give you all the money, please spare us. Humph. Wu Feng snorted, do you two think I would be satisfied with this amount of money? In an instant, Hu Huan and Hu Shi's faces turned pale as paper. Terrified, Wu Feng said, do you know how much the stuff you stole from me is worth? We don't know. The two shook their heads. Wu Feng stood up, what you stole from me is a contract worth at least 3 to 5 billion. Suddenly, the two brothers were dumbfounded, directly collapsing to the ground. No wonder Hu Erbi had the heart to give them so much money, turns out the contract was worth so much. Mercy, Master Feng, mercy. Master Feng, we brothers know we were wrong. Hu Huan and Hu Shi kept bowing to the ground. Wu Feng waved his hand and said, break both their hands for me, so they won't go stealing again. Yes. He Ming nodded, taking the hammer from one of his men. De Fei personally held down Hu Huan's arms with his brothers. Ah! Hu Huan screamed, struggling frantically. Seeing the situation, everyone else rushed over to hold Hu Huan down. Thud! He Ming swung down the hammer heavily, shattering Hu Huan's arm on the spot. Ah! Hu Huan screamed, then passed out cold. He Ming turned to look at Hu Shi. Hu Shi fainted directly from fright. But fainting wouldn't help, Wu Feng wouldn't let him off either. Thud! Another hammer blow came down, and Hu Shi, who had fainted from fear, woke up immediately, terrified, with feces and urine flowing in his pants. Wu Feng walked out of the bathhouse while smoking, waving his hand, manager, you take care of the cleanup yourself. Of course, Master Feng, please take care. The manager nodded and bowed, looking respectful as if he were a eunuch. But there was no choice. Not to mention Wu Feng, even someone like De Fei, who was a subordinate of his subordinate, was not someone he, a mere manager, could provoke. The crowd dispersed, gathering directly outside the bathhouse. Wu Feng said, go straight to the hospital and bring Hu Erbi to the bamboo forest bar for me. Understood. He Ming nodded, personally leading De Fei's group towards the hospital. Wu Feng, on the other hand, got on his large motorcycle and left the village with Su Xianyan. On the way, Su Xianyan asked, did you find out? Hu Erbi did it. Wu Feng said, he's already joined the Lu family. What are you going to do next? Su Xianyan asked again. Wu Feng said, naturally, I'll settle accounts with the Lu family. Then I won't go, I'll go home to feed the dogs. Su Xianyan said. Okay, ride safely. Wu Feng waved his hand, seeing off Su Xianyan. Howl. As Su Xianyan went further away, Wu Feng also accelerated towards the bamboo forest bar. Although the bar had been smashed, after a night of busy work, the garbage was basically cleaned up. Of course, business was definitely not going to be possible. But, wanting to have a conversation or maybe start a fight here was definitely not a problem. Wu Feng sat on the sofa in the bar's office. Yi Xiaozhu quickly prepared a glass of wine for him. Boss Wu, have a drink. Yi Xiaozhu smiled and handed the glass to Wu Feng. Wu Feng grabbed her small hand and pulled her to sit beside him. Yi Xiaozhu lowered her head slightly, her pretty face blushing. She was always admired Wu Feng, but knowing her status compared to Wu Feng, she never dared to overstep. Wu Feng spoke, you single-handedly founded the bar, and now it's been smashed. The person who should be most heartbroken should be you. Yi Xiaozhu buried her head even deeper, her eyes slightly red. Although she never expressed her emotions in front of others, having the bar smashed was more heartbreaking for her than anyone else. Chapter 156, Hu Erbi surrenders. Wu Feng gently patted her back. I'm sorry. Yi Xiaozhu shook her head slightly. It's not your fault, especially since I handed the bar over to you. You're the boss here now. Wu Feng smiled, reaching out to gently stroke her hair. Don't forget, you've also entrusted yourself to me. Yi Xiaozhu lowered her head again, suddenly becoming very shy. Wu Feng continued, since this bar has been smashed, I'll reopen one for you. Reopen one? Yi Xiaozhu was stunned. Are you serious? Of course. Wu Feng nodded. The Dragon King nightclub closed down recently. I'm planning to buy it and hand it over to you. All you have to do is move the bamboo forest bar there and make it bigger and stronger. But the Dragon King nightclub is too big. Just running a bar might be underutilizing it, Yi Xiaozhu said worriedly, looking at Wu Feng. Ha ha. Wu Feng laughed. It's great that you have ideas. I'll leave everything to you. Yi Xiaozhu lightly bit her red lips, not knowing what to say. In the end, she exchanged it for a warm smile. This was the best gift Wu Feng could give her. Of course, Wu Feng also trusted her enough. Yi Xiaozhu suddenly felt that perhaps she would spend her whole life by Wu Feng's side. I'll start planning now. Yi Xiaozhu hurriedly got up and left the office. Ha ha. Wu Feng chuckled, picking up the glass and swinging it in his hand, then took out his phone and called Mr. Oh. Hey, brat, what's up? Mr. O's voice on the other end of the phone was accompanied by a smile, as he was currently playing a game of ivory chess with his friends. Ivory chess was a gift from his daughter, Gu Xinqiang, a while ago. I have a problem, Wu Feng said. Oh? What's the problem? Mr. O's voice immediately turned serious. I lost the contract I signed with the Lu family. It was stolen by Huerbi's men. Wu Feng said. What? Mr. O's face changed color, and he even stopped playing chess. I've sent someone to find Huerbi now. My plan is to have you arrange a meeting with someone from the Lu family for me, Wu Feng said. I understand. Mr. O nodded. Where's the meeting? When? It'll be at my bamboo forest bar, tonight at 8, Wu Feng said. Alright, I'll take care of it. Mr. O nodded firmly. Should we inform the old city lord about what the Lu family has done? Wu Feng asked. We're not at that stage yet. Mr. O shook his head. Okay, I understand. Wu Feng nodded and hung up the phone, then called Zhao Feifeng. Although Zhao Feifeng wasn't officially under his command, she was already considered part of the team. Hey, what's up? Zhao Feifeng was quick and direct. The situation with the Lu family has gone awry. I need your help, Wu Feng said. No problem. Are we going to wipe out the Lu family or what? Zhao Feifeng asked directly. Wu Feng shook his head. The Lu family stole the contract with the help of Huerbi, but I feel like there's something fishy about it. The Lu family shouldn't have the guts to do that, Zhao Feifeng shook her head, maintaining a skeptical attitude. Wu Feng nodded and quickly said, I've asked Mr. O to approach the Lu family. We'll meet at the bamboo forest bar tonight at 8. The Lu family will have enough time to prepare, Zhao Feifeng said. Exactly, Wu Feng nodded. So, I want you to keep an eye on the Lu family's every move. No problem. I'll get right on it, Zhao Feifeng said. Good, thank you. Wu Feng finished the call. Knock, knock, knock. Come in. Wu Feng called out, placing his hand on the sofa. The office door was pushed open, and He Ming walked in briskly. Boss, Huerbi is here. Ha ha ha. Wu Feng laughed, getting up and patting He Ming on the shoulder. Good job, kid. You're efficient. It's a must. He Ming said. I dare not be careless when it comes to tasks assigned by boss. Good. Wu Feng nodded, putting his arm around He Ming's shoulder and walking downstairs. At this moment, the hall of the bar was crowded with his men. In the middle was a mobile stretcher, and lying on it was Huerbi. His limbs were bound, and even his mouth was stuffed with a sock. Huerbi whimpered continuously. When he saw Wu Feng, his face suddenly changed. Wu Feng gestured, and He Ming immediately pulled the sock out of Huerbi's mouth. Huerbi roared, Wu Feng, are you crazy? Why did you capture me? Humph. Wu Feng snorted and sat down on a chair, crossing his legs casually and lighting a cigarette. No one spoke, everyone was looking at Huerbi. At this moment, Huerbi felt a chill run down his spine. Could it be that his theft had been exposed? But that couldn't be right. The Hu brothers were very reliable. Even if it was exposed, he wouldn't admit it. Wu Feng wouldn't be able to do anything to him. What do you mean? I don't understand. Huerbi shook his head, continuing to play dumb. Wu Feng said, I advise you to tell the truth and say something valuable. That way, you might still have a chance to live. Have I offended you? Hu Erbi shouted. If you have the guts, just kill me. Wu Feng waved his hand. Hey Ming, give him a quick death. All right. He Ming nodded, immediately pulling out a military knife and aiming it at Hu Erbi's heart. If you kill me, you'll end up in jail too. Hu Erbi shouted, trembling with fear. He Ming smiled. Do you think I'm afraid? You. Hu Erbi trembled all over, pleading with his eyes to Wu Feng. Wu Feng turned his head away, not even looking at Hu Erbi. He Ming slowly brought down the knife, piercing Hu Erbi's chest and pressing down bit by bit. Ah! Hu Erbi screamed, simultaneously shouting, Wu Feng, I was wrong. Spare me. Still, Wu Feng remained silent, and He Ming didn't stop. A tenth of the blade had already plunged into Hu Erbi's heart. I'll talk, I'll tell you everything. Hu Erbi yelled, completely engulfed in the fear of death. Stop. Wu Feng finally called out, signaling He Ming to halt. At this point, Hu Erbi was trembling all over, with feces and urine flowing from his pants. Wu Feng, I was wrong. Hu Erbi cried, tears streaming down his face. At this moment, he dared not question whether Wu Feng dared to kill him or not. Wu Feng smiled. I'll say it again, if you say something useful, you can still save your life. If you keep spouting nonsense, you'll meet King Yama. It's the Lu family, it's Lu Bala. Hu Erbi cried, his voice tinged with fear. Lu Bala asked me to do it. Wu Feng shook his head. Tell me something I don't know. Hu Erbi shed tears of grievance. At this moment, he didn't want to betray Lu Bala and the little Dragon King. After all, this was his only chance to turn things around. But if he didn't speak, he might lose his life. It was a dilemma. Blood Hand Gate. Hu Erbi spoke calmly. People from the Blood Hand Gate have arrived, and they're backing the Lu family. Just as I suspected. Wu Feng nodded. He had received information some time ago that people from the Blood Hand Gate had arrived in Qin City. However, it was unclear who had come and where they were hiding. Hu Erbi continued, the little Dragon King of the Blood Hand Gate is cooperating with the Lu family. He's the son of the Tyrannosaurus. Wu Feng immediately stood up, his entire demeanor becoming serious. With the Blood Hand Gate involved, this matter was no longer just a conflict between him and the Lu family. It involved the Blood Hand Gate and the entire Qin City. Qin City was about to change again. Chapter 157, Lu family's final madness. Wu Feng immediately sent a message to Mr. Oh, the content was concise, the plan remains unchanged. The person behind the Lu family is the son of the little Dragon King of the Blood Hand Gate. After receiving the message, Mr. O was stunned for half a minute before picking up his phone to reply, be extra careful. I will inform the old city lord about this. Then, Mr. O called the old city lord directly and informed him of the situation. The old city lord simply said one sentence, the Blood Hand Gate must die. Go ahead and do what needs to be done. If you need any help, just let me know. Although it sounded polite, it was equivalent to giving him the authority to act. The next steps were straightforward, eradicate the remnants of the Lu family and the Blood Hand Gate. They would not allow them to harm Qin City. Mr. O immediately called Lu Tianqian. Hello, Mr. O, what advice do you have? Lu Tianqian's voice came humbly from the phone. Humph. Mr. O couldn't help but snort coldly. This Lu Tianqian was truly capable of enduring humiliation. What's the matter, Mr. O? Lu Tianqian asked. Mr. O immediately said, the contract was lost because of Hu Erbi. He had someone steal it. What? Lu Tianqian exclaimed. What's going on? Is Hu Erbi out of his mind? Does this matter concern you? Mr. O pretended to be confused. It definitely doesn't. Lu Tianqian shook his head. Mr. Oh, I can swear to the heavens. All right. Mr. O nodded. It's almost time to repay the money. Whether the contract exists or not seems unimportant now. Exactly. Lu Tianqian nodded repeatedly. Since I promised to provide the money, I definitely won't go back on my word. Mr. O said, we'll meet at the Bamboo Forest Bar at 8 tonight. Okay, no problem. I'll definitely be there. Lu Tianchen smiled and hung up the phone, but the smile disappeared from his face the next moment. What's wrong? The little Dragon King, sitting on the sofa, asked. Has something happened with Huerbi? Lu Bala asked. Yeah. Lu Tianchen nodded. Wu Feng is starting to suspect us. It doesn't matter, the little Dragon King shrugged. I've already prepared everything on my end. Lu Tianchen turned his head, looking surprised at the little Dragon King. You already have a plan? Exactly, the little Dragon King nodded. What plan? Lu Tianchen asked, but the little Dragon King shook his head calmly and said, just go meet Wu Feng. I guarantee you won't have to spend a penny, and Wu Feng won't lay a finger on you. Impossible. Wu Feng is crazy. I can't believe your words. Lu Tianchen shook his head. Ha ha, the little Dragon King burst into laughter. Everyone has their weak spots. Do you know what Wu Feng's weak spot is? Well. Lu Tianchen hesitated. He really didn't know what Wu Feng's weak spot was. The little Dragon King said, Wu Feng's weak spot is his sister. I've had people watching Gu Xinqiang for 3 days already. In other words, as long as you go meet Wu Feng, I can kidnap Gu Xinqiang anytime. We hold Wu Feng's weak spot. Do you think he'll dare to touch you? Lu Tianchen nodded. Doing this can indeed ensure my safety, but it's equivalent to turning against him. Ha ha, the little Dragon King laughed, getting up and patting Lu Tianchen's shoulder. It's all ready at this point. Are you still afraid of turning against him? Lu Bala hastily added, Boss, I just checked Huerbi was taken from the hospital by someone. It's probably Wu Feng's doing. The little Dragon King added, Huerbi is unreliable. Our matter is likely to be exposed, so we must strike first. All right. Lu Tianchen nodded. Let's do as you say. Very well, the little Dragon King nodded. You and Scar go meet Wu Feng, while I'll go see Wu Feng's sister. Let's split up. All right. Lu Tianchen nodded, immediately changing his clothes and heading out with Lu Bala and a group of henchmen, making their way straight to the bamboo forest bar. Later, the little Dragon King also left the Lu family in his car, driving in the opposite direction from Lu Tianchen. At exactly 8 o'clock in the evening, Lu Tianchen arrived at the bamboo forest bar with the people from the Lu family as scheduled. Mr. Oh, and Wu Feng had long been waiting in the lobby. Of course, there was another person in the lobby, naturally Huerbi, who was still receiving intravenous antibiotics when Lu Bala saw Huerbi. Only 2 words came to mind, troublesome. Mr. Oh, Feng Ye. Lu Tianchen smiled. Take a seat. Mr. Oh waved. Sure. Lu Tianchen pulled Lu Bala and sat down together. The henchmen on both sides stood behind their respective bosses, their aura equally strong. Wu Feng spoke up, do you know why we've called you two here today? The contract was lost. Lu Tianchen said. Mr. Oh already told me about it. Wu Feng said, Huerbi, tell me who ordered you to steal the contract. Huerbi glanced at Lu Bala, who gave him a fierce murderous look. I'm sorry, Bala. It's not that I want to betray you. If I don't say it, I'll be dead. Huerbi cried, in immense pain. You son of a... Lu Bala cursed, getting up and threatening to kill Huerbi. Sit down. Wu Feng glared at Lu Bala. Sit down. Lu Tianchen said, forcefully pulling his brother back to his seat. Mr. Oh said, isn't what you're doing a bit too much? Lu Tianchen shook his head, coldly snorting, am I doing too much? Where have I gone too far? You guys want the lifeblood of my Lu family. Can I give it to you? If you don't want to give it, why did you agree in the first place? Mr. Oh asked. I'll die if I don't agree. I want to live, it's as simple as that. Lu Tianchen yelled, now completely erupting, not fearing Wu Feng and the others at all. Bang! Wu Feng slammed his hand on the table, and Black Ming immediately drew his sword. Mr. Oh reached out to stop him, then asked Lu Tianchen, the old city lord already knows what you've done. So what? Can I give this money? Lu Tianchen looked unafraid. Wu Feng sneered, do you think, at this point, it's still about the money? What do you mean? Lu Tianchen countered. Mr. O said, the truth will come out sooner or later. Since Hu Erbi has spilled the beans, he will tell us everything clearly. In an instant, Lu Tianchen's heart sank halfway. Mr. O continued, the old city lord wants me to ask you, do you regret what you've done? Lu Tianchen stood up, flipping the table over. Crash. The ashtray and drinks on the table all scattered on the ground. Regret? I regret not killing you guys back then. Lu Tianchen roared. What's wrong with the Blood Hand Gate? The Blood Hand Gate can help my Lu family regain its glory. What about you guys? You only want the life of my Lu family. Wu Feng slowly turned his head and said to Mr. Oh, since that's the case, I think there's no need to say anything more, right? Right. Mr. O nodded, half closing his eyes. Even though the old city lord didn't explicitly state it, he knew what needed to be done. In Qin City, if anyone was associated with the Blood Hand Gate, death was the only outcome. Take action. Wu Feng waved his hand to signal Black Ming. Black Ming stepped forward, directly holding his knife to Lu Tianchen's neck. Kill me? Lu Tianchen sneered. Are you trying to let your sister die with me? Chapter 158, The Game of the Young Dragon King. In that fleeting moment, Wu Feng's gaze transformed, ablaze with fury. He rose to his feet, seizing Lu Tianchen by the collar of his garment. What did you say? Repeat it, he demanded. Humph. Lu Tianchen snorted disdainfully, brimming with confidence. The Bloodhand sect has already captured your sister. Dare to lay a finger on me, and they'll end her life. Smack. Wu Feng's palm struck Lu Tianchen's face. Unmoved, Lu Tianchen maintained his composure, continuing, your striking me only betrays your fear of killing me. Smack. 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 Wu Feng delivered 3 resounding slaps, causing Lu Tianchen to cough up blood. Ha ha ha. Despite the agony, Lu Tianchen laughed. Wu Feng, I advise you to call your elder sister and clarify this matter. Wu Feng remained silent, turning towards the restroom, where he promptly dialed his elder sister, Gu Xingqing. 3 minutes later, Wu Feng returned, declaring, now, call the young Dragon King. All right. Lu Tianchen immediately retrieved his phone and dialed the young Dragon King. Hello, how are things on your end? Laughter emanated from the phone as the young Dragon King spoke. Lu Tianchen relayed, Wu Feng struck me, but he dares not kill me. How are things on your end? Let's switch to video, the young Dragon King suggested. Very well. Lu Tianchen hung up and initiated a WeChat video call. On the screen, the green-haired young Dragon King smiled into his phone. Greetings, Mr. Wu Feng. It was quite effortless to admire your elder sister's villa. Truly splendid. Wu Feng snatched the phone, seeing clearly a woman bound to a bed, wrapped in bandages. If you dare harm her in the slightest, I'll end you. Wu Feng's tone was calm, yet his resolve was firm. Ha ha ha, the young Dragon King laughed. If you lay a hand on Lu Tianchen, rest assured, your sister will meet a dire fate. What are your terms? Wu Feng inquired. It's quite simple, the young Dragon King replied. Void the contracts with the Lu family, and return double the money you received previously. Agreed, Wu Feng nodded, without hesitation. That settles it. Prepare yourself and contact me again, the young Dragon King instructed. Under no circumstances send anyone to find me, for I shall depart shortly. You won't find me. Asterisk click. Asterisk. Ending the call, Wu Feng tossed the phone to Lu Tianchen. Ha ha ha. Lu Tianchen laughed heartily. Wu Feng, who would have thought you'd face such a day? Booyah, I need to borrow some money, Wu Feng stated. I happen to have cash on hand, Wu Ya nodded, signaling to his henchman. Yes, sir. The henchman immediately made calls, and half an hour later, an armored van arrived at the Baruyas bodyguards unloaded crate after crate of cash into the bar. Open all the crates. Booyah commanded. Every crate was opened, revealing stacks of gleaming banknotes. Lu Tianchen was ecstatic, beads of sweat forming on his forehead. Lu Balala squatted down, caressing the money continuously. Though the Lu family wasn't lacking in wealth, the sight of so much cash before them stirred a primal urge. Inspect thoroughly. If everything checks out, take the money, Wu Feng instructed. Understood. Lu Tianqian nodded, instructing his men to verify the authenticity of the banknotes. Once confirmed, Lu Tianqian directed his family's men to load the money onto the vehicle. Only then did Lu Tianqian make a video call to the young Dragon King. Ha ha ha. As soon as the call connected, the young Dragon King emitted an eerie laughter. As you predicted, Wu Feng has indeed succumbed, Lu Tianqian informed. Very well, quite satisfactory, the young Dragon King nodded approvingly. Taking the phone, Wu Feng addressed the young Dragon King. I've fulfilled your demands, release my sister. Once Lu Tianqian has departed the bar and it's confirmed safe, I'll release her, the young Dragon King stated. You dare deceive me again? Wu Feng coldly snorted. The young Dragon King on the video suddenly stopped smiling. You wish to kill me, don't you? No, Wu Feng shook his head. In my eyes, you're already a dead man. Ha ha, the young Dragon King burst into laughter. Since you're so audacious, let's play a game. I'm not interested, Wu Feng shook his head. The young Dragon King continued, I'm in the outskirts. I'll administer a sedative to your sister now. Its effects last for an hour. If you find me, you have the chance to kill me and save your sister. Otherwise, if you can't find me, your beautiful sister will fall into the hands of my brothers. In an instant, Wu Feng's countenance turned as cold as iron, his clenched fist embedding fingernails into his palm, drawing blood that trickled down. Click. Ending the call, Wu Feng pocketed his phone and gestured to He Ming, swiftly departing the hotel on their motorcycles. Meanwhile, Lu Tianqian was taken aback. They're leaving just like that? Lu Balala chuckled. Boss, this money is too easy. Ha ha ha. Lu Tianqian burst into laughter. However, a group led by De Fei immediately surrounded all of the Lu family's vehicles. Their intention was clear, they weren't letting them leave. You bastards, daring to play games like this, you're dead tonight. De Fei roared. Lu Balala stepped forward, delivering a slap to De Fei's face. Smack. When did a punk like you become so bold here? Lu Balala bellowed. De Fei gnashed his teeth in anger, preparing to retaliate. Stop. Ouya thundered. De Fei reluctantly said, Ouya, they. Let them go. Ouya ordered. It's not the right time to act against them now. Ha ha ha. Lu Balala laughed. Got it, idiot? You just wait. De Fei seethed with rage, eyes burning with fury. Smack. 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 Lu Balala delivered 3 consecutive slaps to De Fei's face. Get in the cars, back to the Lu residence. Lu Balala turned and got into the car. Meanwhile, Lu Tianqian approached Ouya, smiling. Truly, you have a broad vision, foreseeing the long term. Ouya shook his head. Indeed, I have a long-term view, because I know your Lu family can't escape this calamity. Ah, Lu Tianqian sighed. Ouya, you're getting old and losing touch with society. I hold all the cards now. Humph. Ouya snorted. Lu Tianqian continued, once we leave here, I'll immediately deposit this money into the bank, then transfer it to overseas accounts, including all the liquidity my Lu family has amassed recently. That should be quite a substantial sum. Ouya remarked, 5 billion at least. Lu Tianqian said confidently. So, I'm not afraid of your retaliation. I can escape from Qing City any time, carrying my wealth with me. Ouya smiled. Let's hope your wings are strong enough. Otherwise, you'll meet a grisly end. Ha ha ha. Lu Tianqian laughed heartily. Wishing you a long and prosperous life. With that, Lu Tianqian got into the car. The convoy of Lu family vehicles, loaded with over 1 billion in cash, departed from the bamboo forest bar. Chapter 159, I'm the one who will kill you all. Outskirts, within an abandoned chemical plant. The green-haired young Dragon King sat on a small cushion, with 4 burly men standing behind him. They were the 4 among the Bloodhand sect's 12 heavenly lords, Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Black Tortoise. These 4, also known as the 4 Guardians, ranked just below the Bloodhand sect's 5 great kings. In front of the young Dragon King lay a woman, tightly bound, struggling incessantly on the ground. Her long legs were slender and fair, flawless even without stockings. Her figure was incredibly alluring, surpassing the ordinary S-curve. The young Dragon King smirked slightly, reaching out to remove the gag from the woman's mouth. Who are you people? What do you want with my brother? Speak to me. Gu Xinqing yelled, unwilling for her brother to suffer any harm because of her. Ha ha, the young Dragon King burst into laughter. You truly are a good sister. You freak. Gu Xinqing shook her head, utterly disgusted by the green-haired man before her. Indeed, I am a freak. The young Dragon King produced a syringe and jabbed it into Gu Xinqing's shoulder, swiftly injecting liquid into her body. What did you inject into me? Gu Xinqing glared angrily at the young Dragon King. The young Dragon King chuckled as he withdrew the syringe, tossing it aside. Then he explained, this is called harmony powder, but I've modified it a bit. In an hour, you'll transform from a respectable woman into a streetwalker. I guarantee you'll beg us for satisfaction, he declared. You're delusional. I'd rather die than do such a thing. Gu Xinqing shouted. Ha! The young Dragon King laughed, placing his hand on Gu Xinqing's cheek. What perfect cheeks, what a perfect woman. You're blameless, it's your brother who killed our bloodhand sex people and dragged you into this mess. You bastard, you deserve to die. Gu Xinqing screamed, shaking her head vigorously to free herself. The young Dragon King withdrew his hand, running it through his green hair, smiling, you're right, I am a freak. I know I won't die a good death. But before I die, I'm going to enjoy life to the fullest. Gu Xinqing's body couldn't help but tremble. This man's madness exceeded her imagination. The young Dragon King continued, do you know? I used to be a deeply affectionate and faithful person. My girlfriend was even more beautiful than you, but she betrayed me. She engaged in group activities behind my back with other men. I was betrayed, and since that day, I dyed my hair green. So, you killed your girlfriend? Gu Xinqing shook her head. I merely sent her to another world. This green hair of mine is a tribute to her. You maniac, you're not even human. Gu Xinqing kept shaking her head, increasingly terrified by the man before her. Ha ha, the young Dragon King laughed again. Have you noticed your heart rate accelerating, your body gradually heating up, an indescribable emptiness flooding your heart? No. Gu Xinqing denied vehemently, but the strange changes in her body told her otherwise. The effects of the drug have already begun, the young Dragon King grinned. I forgot to tell you, in an hour, anyone will succumb to this effect. Even an ordinary woman can't last 15 minutes. Ha ha ha, the young Dragon King laughed to the sky. Why would I wait for Wu Feng? Why would I give him an hour? You maniac, demon, freak. Gu Xinqing roared in anger. The young Dragon King stood up. Untie her hands and continue binding her legs. Let her serve you well later. Yes, young master. Azure Dragon nodded and stepped forward to untie the ropes binding Gu Xinqing's wrists. Gu Xinqing twisted her wrists and sat on the ground. She could keenly feel the strange changes happening within her body. Several men approached Gu Xinqing, teasing her. Hey girl, do you think I'm handsome? Hey girl, wanna have some fun with us? Don't worry, I'll be very gentle with you. I promise, I won't make you cry. Gu Xinqing shouted, get away from me. Ha ha ha. Laughter echoed throughout the abandoned building. The young Dragon King turned to look downstairs. Stop struggling. Wu Feng won't find this place, let alone save you. He will definitely come, and he will come to kill you. Gu Xinqing shouted. You're dreaming. The young Dragon King shook his head, then suddenly saw car headlights in the distance. Soon after, 2 large motorcycles arrived at the abandoned building. Oh no, could they really have come? Azure Dragon's face turned pale. Impossible. White Tiger shook his head. It takes at least half an hour to drive from downtown to here. Who told you it takes half an hour? Motorcycles don't need that. Wu Feng's voice rang out, followed by him walking up the stairs with a helmet in hand. Upon seeing Wu Feng, Gu Xinqing burst into tears and shouted, Feng, run, these people are all lunatics. Wu Feng shook his head. Big sis, I won't leave you behind. No one should dare to bully you. You truly surprise me. The young Dragon King spread his hands, looking pleasantly surprised at Wu Feng. Wu Feng continued shaking his head. Bloodhand sect, young Dragon King, you shouldn't have touched my sister. But I did, what can you do about it? The young Dragon King roared. You killed 3 of my Bloodhand sect's great lords. Did you think I would let you off? You're seeking death. He Ming immediately drew his military knife, ready to attack. Step back. Wu Feng stopped him, saying, I'll personally deal with these people. Yes, Boss Feng. He Ming sheathed his knife and stepped back. He could sense that although Wu Feng seemed calm, his heart was already raging. The so-called surface calmness and inner madness had formed an extreme contrast long ago. Humph. The young Dragon King snorted, walking to the window and shouting, 4 guardians, kill them both for me. Yes. The 4 guardians simultaneously wielded their weapons and swiftly launched an attack on Wu Feng. Swish. Wu Feng drew his own military knife and dashed towards the enemies with lightning speed. Wu Feng, you're doomed. The young Dragon King didn't even look back. With the 4 guardians attacking simultaneously, no one can withstand it. Swish. A flash of cold light. Thump. A head fell to the ground. Well done. The young Dragon King laughed heartily, but as he turned around, his expression suddenly changed to one of fear. Yes, the dead person was White Tiger, and the head on the ground belonged to White Tiger. Meanwhile, Wu Feng stood still, his knife still dripping with blood. What are you? The young Dragon King shouted in terror. In that moment, his worldview was completely shattered. Approaching with his knife, Wu Feng said, I'm the one who will kill you all. Chapter 160, The Blood Battle at the Old Factory. I am the one who will kill you. With this utterance, Wu Feng startled the Dragon Prince, causing him to step back. Though young, the Dragon Prince had witnessed numerous grand spectacles. The 4 guardians held an unassailable position within the Bloodhands sect. The Dragon Prince himself had witnessed the 4 guardians slaughtering hundreds of people. Yet, despite the formidable reputation of the 4 guardians, they could barely withstand a single move from this man named Wu Feng. Wu Feng's terror and ferocity exceeded the Dragon Prince's expectations. The other 3 of the 4 guardians, despite White Tiger's fall, were not intimidated by Wu Feng, rather, they became even more serious. White Tiger was undoubtedly the most arrogant and presumptuous among them. His death was solely due to his own arrogance, a consequence of his recklessness. Therefore, Azure Dragon, Vermilion Bird, and Black Tortoise felt no pity for him. Nevertheless, they intended to kill Wu Feng not to avenge White Tiger but to prove their own strength. Arcane Formation. Azure Dragon commanded. The 3 swiftly circled around Wu Feng, forming a perfect 120-degree angle with no blind spots. Wu Feng, being only one person, moved his body slowly in tandem with the 3. As a former underground kingpin, he was acutely aware of his situation and couldn't afford to be careless. Attack! Azure Dragon roared, and the 3 simultaneously launched their assault against Wu Feng. With a swift somersault, Wu Feng rolled out between Azure Dragon and Vermilion Bird. Then, with agile precision, he struck like a darting fish. When Vermilion Bird turned around to strike at Wu Feng, his blade was already at her throat. In an instant, Vermilion Bird's complexion changed, turning as pale as paper. The formation is commendable, but your speed is still too slow. With Wu Feng's words, his blade sliced open Vermilion Bird's neck. Everything happened in a blink of an eye. Neither Azure Dragon nor Black Tortoise, nor even Vermilion Bird herself, could react in time. It was because Wu Feng's speed was too fast, beyond their control and comprehension. Spurt, blood gushed from Vermilion Bird's neck, and she instinctively tried to cover it with her hand. But what good would that do? Ultimately, it was futile. Soon, Vermilion Bird's entire body was dyed red with blood, her consciousness slipping away, until she finally collapsed on the cold cement floor. Azure Dragon and Black Tortoise glanced at Vermilion Bird on the ground, still devoid of any sorrow. Wu Feng sneered, the sentiment of guardianship is indeed so feeble. Ha ha! Azure Dragon laughed, you underestimate us too much. I must admit you are strong. Black Tortoise spoke, but we are not weak either. Azure Dragon said, we will never experience emotional fluctuations due to the death of a comrade. Only by maintaining rationality at all times can we unleash our maximum combat power. Well said. Wu Feng nodded in agreement with this statement. Now, it's your turn to die. Black Tortoise spoke, slowly circling behind Wu Feng. Meanwhile, Azure Dragon also stood in front of Wu Feng. With one in front and one behind, whoever Wu Feng attacked would be stabbed by the other. And if both attacked Wu Feng simultaneously, at least one of them could strike him. This was Azure Dragon and Black Tortoise's plan, seemingly simple but involving the sacrifice of their own lives. Even if they died by Wu Feng's blade, they aimed to demonstrate the formidable strength of the four guardians. Attack! Azure Dragon roared once again, as Black Tortoise simultaneously launched their final assault against Wu Feng. This time, it was either Wu Feng's death or their own. Swish! Wu Feng struck with his blade, swift, precise, and ruthless. He pierced directly through Azure Dragon's throat. Meanwhile, Black Tortoise stood still, staring at Azure Dragon with a look of astonishment. Black Tortoise, you. Azure Dragon began, but Black Tortoise shook his head. Apologies, elder brother. My spirit beast is a tortoise, you should know my personality. I won't throw my life away. Azure Dragon pointed at him, shouting, you. Wu Feng withdrew his blade, blood spraying like a fountain. Black Tortoise swiftly focused on Gu Xinqing lying on the ground. At this moment, the only way to save his life was to hold Gu Xinqing hostage. The Dragon Prince also sensed Black Tortoise's intentions and prepared to assist him. This logic, Wu Feng understood very well, as did He Ming, who stood nearby. The Dragon Prince immediately took out a pill and slammed it on the ground. Boom! Suddenly, a dizzying mist filled the room. Black Tortoise rolled forward and reached Gu Xinqing, placing his blade directly at her neck. Come with me. Gu Xinqing's face changed drastically. You. Splurt! With a crisp sound, Black Tortoise suddenly felt a chill behind him. He turned his head in shock and found Wu Feng standing behind him. The sound just now was the sound of Wu Feng plunging his blade into his heart from behind. You. Black Tortoise spat out blood, the knife in his hand fell to the ground. Wu Feng still closed his eyes, calmly saying, the mist may blind the eyes, but it can't cover my ears. The next moment, Wu Feng pulled out his own blade, held it in front of him, and gently blew away the blood on it. Splurt! Blood gushed from Black Tortoise's mouth, and he collapsed on the ground, unable to get up again. Awesome, truly awesome. You win today, I'm done playing with you. The Dragon Prince shouted and ran upstairs. Want to leave? Wu Feng's expression changed, turning to chase after him. At this moment, Gu Xinqing, sitting on the ground, suddenly hugged Wu Feng's thigh, trembling as she spoke, Brother, save me. Only now did Wu Feng realize that Gu Xinqing was deeply poisoned, her body burning hot. Compared to killing the Dragon Prince, saving Gu Xinqing at this moment was the top priority. I'll go. He Ming quickly went upstairs to chase after the Dragon Prince. Meanwhile, Gu Xinqing clung to Wu Feng's thigh like an octopus, pressing her entire body against him. Wu Feng put down his blade, squatting down, gently patting Gu Xinqing's back. Sister, it's okay. Little did he know, Gu Xinqing pounced, pressing Wu Feng to the ground. The next moment, Gu Xinqing, without any hesitation, lay on top of Wu Feng, cupping his cheeks, and gave him a deep kiss. Sister! Wu Feng struggled to push her away, but Gu Xinqing had lost her mind long ago, and at this moment, nothing could stop her purest and most primal desire. She kissed Wu Feng's cheeks passionately, her fragrance constantly engulfing him. Where could Wu Feng withstand such an onslaught? Just before succumbing, he took out a silver needle and stabbed it directly into Gu Xinqing's neck. The next second, Gu Xinqing collapsed on top of him, passing out completely. Phew! Wu Feng let out a long breath. If he had been even a moment later, he didn't know what would have happened next. If he had arrived a little later, Gu Xinqing might have met with misfortune long ago. Wu Feng gently lifted her soft body. The cunning moonlight cast on her perfect cheeks. At this moment, the moonlight was extraordinarily gentle, and so was Wu Feng. Sorry, sister. Wu Feng gently kissed her forehead. At the same time, the Dragon Prince had already reached the rooftop of the unfinished building, stopping his footsteps. Ha ha ha. The Dragon Prince burst into laughter. Since Wu Feng didn't follow, do you think you can be my opponent? As long as you don't jump off the building yourself, I guarantee you'll die by my hand. He Ming spoke calmly, his hand already gripping the sword in reverse, ready for a life and death battle. Chapter 161, Poison to the Core. Ha ha ha. The young Dragon King laughed heartily, then declared, You are doomed. Perhaps not. He Ming shook his head and swiftly charged towards the young Dragon King. The young Dragon King reached behind his waist, swiftly tossing a pill towards He Ming's feet. Boom! The pill exploded, and green smoke engulfed the ground in an instant. In a blink of an eye, He Ming felt his legs weaken, and the young Dragon King in front of him seemed to multiply into 3 figures. Ha ha ha! The young Dragon King burst into laughter. Fool, this is a hallucinogen. Do you think you can still defeat me? He Ming held his breath, shaking his head repeatedly, trying to regain clarity. However, the young Dragon King quickly produced a second pill. Boom! Another explosion, and white smoke enveloped the rooftop. The young Dragon King spoke. This one is called the blissful dispersal, or the blissful mist. Let's see how long you can endure. He Ming covered his nose and mouth, continuously retreating. Before the smoke dispersed, the young Dragon King launched an attack with his sword. Swish! The young Dragon King's blade descended. He Ming swiftly dodged to the side. Swish! Another horizontal strike from the young Dragon King. He Ming rolled forward, narrowly evading the blade once more. Not bad. The young Dragon King laughed, swiftly initiating the third move. This time, the blade aimed directly at He Ming's neck. The young Dragon King's sword was swift, accompanied by the chilling moonlight, gleaming with countless cold rays. At this moment, He Ming had nowhere to hide, as severe hallucinations gripped his senses, rendering the young Dragon King before him as a gaping beast. Clang! Just before the young Dragon King's blade could pierce He Ming's neck, another blade swooped in. The young Dragon King's blade veered off, missing He Ming's neck and piercing only air. Who? The young Dragon King roared in anger. At this moment, Wu Feng stood behind him. Despicable scoundrel, if you want to kill him, you'll have to ask for my opinion first. You seek death. The young Dragon King roared, reaching for a pill behind him. Almost simultaneously, Wu Feng rolled forward, picked up He Ming's fallen sword, and swiftly thrust it towards the young Dragon King. Splurt! The blade pierced through the back of the young Dragon King's hand. Ah! The young Dragon King screamed in agony, his left hand trembling incessantly. This time, he could no longer retrieve the pills. Wu Feng stood up, retrieving his own sword from earlier. The young Dragon King grew fearful, continuously retreating until he reached the edge of the rooftop. Wu Feng sneered, the son of the Bloodhand sex master, but nothing more than this. The young Dragon King grinned wryly, I've said it before, I won't play with you anymore, why bother entangling with me again? You must die. Wu Feng's tone was indifferent, in his eyes, the young Dragon King was already a dead man. You can't kill me. The young Dragon King turned around and leaped off the rooftop into the abyss. Wu Feng hurried forward, watching the young Dragon King plummet rapidly. Splash! In the next moment, a parachute suddenly rose behind the young Dragon King. From the height of over a dozen floors, he safely landed on the ground. Ha ha ha! The young Dragon King looked up at Wu Feng on the rooftop and laughed. I told you, you can't kill meth next time we meet, I guarantee you'll meet a miserable end. With those words, the young Dragon King boarded a car and drove away from the chemical factory. Wu Feng didn't pursue him. At this moment, both He Ming and Gu Xian Chang were poisoned and needed detoxification urgently. Quickly reaching He Ming, Wu Feng examined his injuries and pulse. Fortunately, He Ming had a strong constitution, and the poison wasn't deep. Wu Feng immediately retrieved a silver needle pack and administered treatment on the spot. About 10 minutes later, He Ming vomited a mouthful of black blood and slowly opened his eyes. Feng Yi, I. He Ming started to speak. No need to talk, just rest here. Wu Feng put away the silver needle pack and swiftly went downstairs to find Gu Xiancheng. By now, Gu Xiancheng, lying downstairs, had slowly opened her eyes. Tears glistened in her eyes, her eyelashes flickering. Brother. Gu Xiancheng spoke softly, weakly. Wu Feng grabbed her hand, pulling her into his embrace again. Sister, it's okay now. Gu Xiancheng nestled into his embrace once more, her warm body pressed tightly against his chest. It's all over now, Wu Feng gently patted her back. However, Gu Xiancheng's poison had not subsided. She launched another fierce attack against Wu Feng, even more ferocious than before. Wu Feng's mouth was forcibly covered by her assault relentless. Wu Feng grabbed Gu Xiancheng's arms, pushed her away, and quickly checked her pulse. To Wu Feng's surprise, the poison had already reached Gu Xiancheng's heart. At this point, there was no remedy except using oneself as a cure to save his elder sister. I'm sorry, Sister Chang. Wu Feng sighed, then switched to the offensive. Thus began a fierce battle between the two. Under the moonlight, two passionate hearts collided, drawing closer until one yielded. Gu Xiancheng's screams, filled with pain and sorrow, echoed. Meanwhile, He Ming, recovering on the rooftop, sensed this heart-wrenching scream. He thought that Wu Feng must be detoxifying his elder sister, otherwise, Gu Xian Chang wouldn't emit such agonizing screams. He Ming waited quietly on the rooftop. Time passed, and the entire abandoned building was quiet, except for the chirping of insects and birds. At this moment, Wu Feng's voice rang out, "Hey Ming, I leave this place to you. I'll take my elder sister home." "All right." He Ming nodded without hesitation. On the other side, Wu Feng held Gu Xianqing's hand and slowly descended the abandoned building. Gu Xianqing's cheeks were still stained with sweat, her lips curved with a satisfied smile. She laughed innocently, radiating adorable charm. "Naughty little brother." Gu Xianqing lightly bit her lip, reaching out to pinch Wu Feng's waist. "Sister Qing, stop it." Wu Feng's face turned slightly embarrassed. "You're so bad." Gu Xianqing blushed shyly, lowering her head, her heart pounding incessantly. "We're going home." Wu Feng gently touched her little head and then got on the motorcycle. Gu Xianqing nodded slightly, straddling the motorcycle, holding onto Wu Feng tightly, pressing her whole body against his back. Vroom, vroom, vroom. The motorcycle roared. Wu Feng twisted the throttle forcefully, and the vehicle shot off like an arrow, piercing through the darkness of the night. In the early hours of the morning, Wu Feng brought Gu Xianqing to the villa downstairs. However, Gu Xianqing looked reluctant to leave. "I'm going back," Wu Feng said. "Little brother, I'm scared." Tears welled up in Gu Xianqing's eyes, her coquettish appearance resembling that of a little girl, charming and heartwarming. "Okay, then I'll stay with you." Wu Feng smiled faintly. Gu Xianqing also smiled. At this moment, it seemed as if a lotus flower blossomed in her heart. After going upstairs and returning home, Gu Xianqing took a hot bath and changed into a translucent nightgown. Wu Feng sat in the living room watching TV, while Gu Xianqing stood in front of the mirror, blowing dry her flowing long hair with a hairdryer. "Little brother." Gu Xianqing turned her head. "Little brother, why do I feel like today you seem so unfamiliar?" "Why would you say that?" Wu Feng looked at Gu Xianqing in confusion. Gu Xianqing asked, "What grievances do you have with the Bloodhand sect?" "This." Wu Feng hesitated, unsure whether to tell his elder sister the truth. Gu Xianqing put down the hairdryer, walked to the sofa, and sat down. With a turn, she nestled into Wu Feng's arms. "You'd better confess the truth, otherwise, sister won't be lenient with you." Gu Xianqing's lips curved into a mischievous smile. Chapter 162, Returning Home to See the Old Man. After much hesitation, Wu Feng decided to tell the truth. "Sister Qing, in reality, the person you see in me isn't truly me," Wu Feng said, grasping Wu Feng's hand. Gu Xianqing asked, "Then tell sister, what kind of person are you?" Wu Feng explained, "You all thought I went to serve in the military for a few years, but actually, the old man sent me to battlefields abroad." "What?" Gu Xianqing was shocked. She had always thought her brother only went to serve in the military, never imagining he had already been sent to foreign battlefields. Continuing, Wu Feng said, "You should know about second sister's Tianfeng Hall, right?" "Of course." Gu Xianqing nodded. Second sister, Long Yan, had always been as tough as a man from a young age. When she grew up, she went to fight abroad and soon established the Tianfeng Hall. Wu Feng revealed, "Above the Tianfeng Hall are 10 lords, and I used to be one of them, with the codename Yan Luo." "Oh my!" Gu Xianqing covered her mouth in astonishment, completely incredulous as she looked at her brother. Wu Feng chuckled, "I knew it, I knew you'd make that expression." In an instant, tears welled up in Gu Xianqing's eyes as she hugged Wu Feng tightly. "So the tattoos on your back aren't tattoos but scars?" "Exactly." Wu Feng nodded. "Scars are hard to repair, so they can only be covered with tattoos." In a moment, Gu Xianqing burst into tears, pounding Wu Feng's back with her small fists. Although she found it hard to believe everything she heard, she simultaneously believed that her brother wouldn't deceive her. "The old man is so heartless, causing you so much suffering despite your excellence." Tears streamed down Gu Xianqing's cheeks. Wu Feng smiled, "It's all in the past now, and besides, I'm doing fine now." Shaking her head, Gu Xianqing said, "You suffered too much during those 3 years at the Xiaojia. It's in the past." Wu Feng continued to smile. "Given the chance, let's go home and see the old man." "Yeah." Gu Xianqing nodded heavily. Wu Feng hugged her and carried her into the bedroom. "What are you going to do?" Gu Xianqing lightly pursed her lips, her cheeks blushing. Wu Feng chuckled, of course, I'm going to coax you to sleep. It's late, and you have to work tomorrow. Then come over and lie next to me. Gu Xianqing patted the space beside her, indicating. All right. Wu Feng nodded and immediately got onto the bed, lying quietly by the window. Holding Wu Feng's hand, Gu Xianqing asked, do you remember when we slept like this when we were kids? Of course, I do. Wu Feng smiled. Back then, I kept clamoring for abalone, and Sister Qing told me that when she made money in the future, she'd buy it for me. Ha ha. Gu Xianqing laughed. Yes. But in the blink of an eye, we've all grown up, and Sister still hasn't treated you to abalone. Wu Feng turned his head to her with a slight smile, but didn't we have it today? Suddenly, Gu Xianqing's face turned red to her ears, using her hands to pinch Wu Feng's waist. Naughty little brother, you still mention that incident. Ha ha ha. Wu Feng burst into laughter. All right, let's not talk about it anymore. It's time to sleep. Gu Xianqing nodded and quietly fell asleep, hugging Wu Feng's arm. After some time, Wu Feng heard Gu Xianqing's light snoring, then quietly got out of bed. Sitting in the living room, Wu Feng poured himself a cup of hot tea and dialed a number, calling Mr. Oh. Hello, Mr. Oh. Wu Feng said. I've rescued her. Good, that's a relief. Mr. Oh nodded. As long as she's safe. Wu Feng added, however, the young Dragon King escaped. He can run, but he can't hide forever, Mr. Oh said. Ha ha. Wu Feng laughed. You make a good point. How about your end? My end? Mr. Oh chuckled. I'll keep you in suspense for now. Check the news tomorrow morning. Ha? Wu Feng was puzzled. What do you mean? Mr. Oh replied, time for bed, that's all. Old man. Wu Feng's words were cut off as Mr. Oh hung up the phone. Helplessly, Wu Feng put away his phone and returned to the bedroom. Lying down next to Gu Xianqing that night, Wu Feng had a dream. In the dream, he was driving a high-performance sports car, speeding across the grassland. The car's horsepower was immense, roaring loudly as it accelerated. The body trembled continuously during rapid acceleration, and countless droplets of water dripped from the exhaust pipe. After speeding for an hour, he cleaned up the water on the ground and then fell asleep on the smooth steering wheel. The next morning, when Wu Feng woke up, Gu Xianqing was nowhere to be seen beside him. A note was left on the bedside table. Breakfast is ready. Sister is off to work. I'll tidy up after you come back tonight. Wu Feng lifted the blanket and realized he wasn't wearing any clothes. The problem was, he didn't have the habit of sleeping naked. Could it be that last night wasn't a dream? Darn it. Wu Feng furrowed his brow, hurriedly putting on clothes before heading to the kitchen. While eating breakfast and refreshing the news on his phone, he came across a headline, breaking news, explosion at the suburban villa of the Liu family, millions of cash flying on the scene, the entire Liu family perished. Damn. Wu Feng suddenly remembered Mr. O's words last night. Was this the news he mentioned? He quickly called Mr. O. Ha ha ha. Mr. O laughed. What do you think? Did you see the news? Wu Feng shook his head. Your actions are too bold. You blew up the villa directly? Mr. O replied, it wasn't me, it was the Liu family's greed. How did it explode? Wu Feng asked. Mr. O said, money isn't a problem, but the cash box had issues. Awesome. Wu Feng gave a thumbs up to his phone. Is it worth it to spend so much money just to kill Liu Tianchen? Mr. O said, money doesn't matter, Liu Tianchen must die. Resolute, I admire it. Wu Feng nodded heavily. Ha ha ha. Mr. O burst into laughter. I'll continue to follow up on the matter of the young Dragon King. You shouldn't be idle either. Got it. Wu Feng nodded. I'll find him, as long as he's still alive in this world. Okay. Mr. O nodded and hung up the phone. Just as Wu Feng finished breakfast, Gu Xianqing walked in through the door. She was wearing a red dress and red high heels. Unlike before, her skin looked even more rosy, charmingly cute like a little girl. Done with breakfast? Gu Xian Cheng asked. Yeah. Wu Feng nodded. I've bought everything, let's go back and see the old man. Gu Xian Cheng said. Okay. Wu Feng nodded, and the two of them immediately left the house, driving out of the city. The car bumped along the road until it finally arrived at the old mountain village in the northern suburbs. Gu Xianqing took out a bunch of precious tonics and fine wines from the trunk. How about these? Dad must love them, right? She asked. But Wu Feng shook his head. Sister Ching, Dad might not necessarily like these. Not like them? Gu Xianqing was puzzled. You'll see later. Wu Feng diverted to a small shop at the village entrance, buying red plum cigarettes, peanuts, and liquor. Then he said to Gu Xianqing, do you believe that Dad only eats these things from the small shop? Gu Xianqing said, I don't believe it. This red wine and beer were bought from abroad. Wu Feng said, then let's make a bet. If I win, you marry me. If you win, I'll marry you. Hey, you're being a rogue. I won't bet with you. Gu Xianqing blurted out, then added, but, seeing how sincere you are, I'll bet with you. He. Wu Feng smirked, and the siblings headed straight to their old man's courtyard. 163. The morning sun was perfect. The old man lay on a rocking chair, swaying a palm leaf fan. On the wooden table beside him was a large enamel jar, with a cup of hot tea inside. Your back? Even before the two had stepped into the courtyard, the old man's voice had already reached them. Wu Feng smiled. Sure enough, it's my old man. You already knew it was me before I even entered the yard. We've come to see you. The old man grunted. Xiaofeng, have you completed the divorce procedures? Everything's done, clean and tidy. Wu Feng smiled. The two siblings entered the courtyard, put down their gifts, and sat beside the old man. Sigh. The old man sighed. The Xiao family is destined to have no blessings. Want a smoke? Wu Feng took out a pack of Hongmei cigarettes. Want to try a Shui family cigar? Gu Xiancheng unpacked them. The old man's eyes flickered, then he took the Hongmei cigarette. You rabbit scoundrel knows me. Wu Feng chuckled. I know you have a taste for these. Old man, don't you like cigars? Gu Xiancheng asked. The old man shook his head. You girls, always buying red wine or cigars, what's with those airplane space cups? I prefer domestic products, not interested in those foreign stuff. Chinese people using Chinese goods, indeed self-reliant. Wu Feng took out some liquor. Shall we drink some later? Sure. The old man smiled. Eldest, go pick a couple of big onions and some greens, then fry them with eggs. Okay. Gu Xiancheng nodded and went into the house, putting on an apron to prepare lunch. The old man spoke again. Xiaofeng, these 3 years at the Xiao family have been hard on you. Wu Feng smiled. Whether it's hard or not, you're my father. It's only right for me to repay you by helping the Xiao family. That's my duty. Rabbit scoundrel, you might not say it, but you're not happy in your heart, right? The old man chuckled. Wu Feng laughed. Sure enough, you're my father, you understand me. The old man continued, 3 years ago, you were the head of the 10 palaces, too outstanding, full of murderous intent. Now look at you, is there a trace of murderous intent left on you? Wu Feng was stunned. He hadn't expected that when the old man had let him marry into the Xiao family 3 years ago, there was this meaning behind it. Leaning back in the rocking chair, the old man continued, the taller the tree, the stronger the wind. The more prominent one's position, the more likely they'll be opposed. Wu Feng continued, therefore, when heaven intends to place a great responsibility on someone, it will first toughen their mind and will. The old man added, by disturbing their actions, stirring their hearts and tempering their nature, so as to strengthen what they are unable to achieve. I didn't just want you to repay me, but also to temper you. Wu Feng said, I understand the principles, but could you be a bit more practical? Ha ha ha. The old man burst into laughter. I have 9 daughters, you can pick anyone to marry. If one isn't enough, pick 2, and if 2 aren't enough, take them all. Get lost. Wu Feng disdainfully said, I don't need you to give them to me. I'm the treasure of my sisters now. They're all fighting to marry me. Humph. The old man glared at Wu Feng. You're more shameless than I was when I was younger. Giggles. Gu Xianqing, who was busy cooking, laughed. What are you two arguing about? Nothing, nothing. Wu Feng quickly shook his head. The old man asked, eldest daughter, do you want to marry this stinky brat? I. Gu Xianqing didn't say anything, stopped her movements, and blushed suddenly. Ha ha ha. The old man laughed heartily. It's decided, this matter is settled. Settled my foot, you old rascal, you're so wicked. Wu Feng rolled his eyes at the old man, ha ha ha. The old man laughed heartily again. Wu Feng asked again, do you know who the eldest sister's biological father is? Ha? The old man looked at Wu Feng suspiciously. What do you mean? Has she found her biological father? Yeah. Wu Feng nodded. It's quite a coincidence. Whether she finds him or not doesn't matter. The old man shook his head, seeming indifferent to it all. Wu Feng said, it's Mr. Oh. Ha ha ha. The old man continued to laugh heartily, without saying anything else. At noon, Wu Feng and Gu Xianqing had lunch with the old man. In the afternoon, as the sun set, Wu Feng and Gu Xianqing left by car. Back in the city, Gu Xianqing took Wu Feng to the mall, and that evening they had seafood for dinner. Gu Xianqing even specifically ordered abalone for Wu Feng to nourish his body. For the next few days, everything was calm. Gu Xianqing once again resumed her primary duties. The incident with the abandoned building of the chemical plant seemed to gradually fade away. However, Wu Feng did not forget. He persistently had He Ming search for traces of the little Dragon King in the shadows. On this day, He Ming called Wu Feng, informing him of an important message. The little Dragon King had been found, currently hiding in a hotel. Moreover, this hotel happened to be the one that Wu Feng had acquired some time ago. Wu Feng couldn't have imagined that the little Dragon King was actually hiding right under his nose. Ironically, through surveillance footage, Wu Feng discovered that the little Dragon King had shaved off all his green hair. Transforming from an eccentric to a handsome lad, he checked into the hotel with a fake ID. Subsequently, the little Dragon King stayed holed up in the hotel every day, hardly venturing out. Around 8 o'clock in the evening, Wu Feng and He Ming arrived at the hotel on their large motorcycles. Instead of rushing upstairs, they instructed the manager to close off the entire building's security passage and then shut the door to the rooftop. As for the parachute stunt the little Dragon King might attempt, it was undoubtedly futile. The residential area windows of the hotel couldn't be fully opened, making it impossible for anyone to jump out. Moreover, urban areas were simply unsuitable for flying. If one were to attempt it, they would probably meet their demise even sooner. After ascending the stairs, Wu Feng instructed a maid to knock on the door. He and He Ming positioned themselves on either side of the wall to avoid detection. Who is it? The little Dragon King inside the room shouted. Housekeeping, the maid replied promptly, swiftly leaving thereafter. Wu Feng and He Ming immediately pressed their ears against the wall, quietly listening to the activity inside. The little Dragon King, clad in a robe, slowly approached the door, intending to open it, but suddenly sensed danger. He quickly glanced through the peephole, finding no one outside. Suddenly, suspicion arose in the little Dragon King's mind. Something was amiss here. Bang! Before the little Dragon King could react, Wu Feng kicked the door open. He Ming dashed into the hotel room, delivering a swift kick that sent the little Dragon King tumbling to the ground. It's you two? Only now did the little Dragon King recognize the faces of Wu Feng and He Ming. You cunning little rascal, hiding quite deeply, aren't you? Wu Feng sneered. The little Dragon King looked around, his heart sinking like a stone. He had just finished speaking to his father, Tyrannosaurus, over the phone. Tyrannosaurus had informed him that by the day after tomorrow, members of the Bloodhand sect would begin arriving in Qin City one after another. Tyrannosaurus himself would also arrive in Qin City 3 days later. This should have been the glorious moment for the Bloodhand sect. Never did he expect that Wu Feng would pay a visit ahead of schedule. Given the current situation, it was clear that the little Dragon King was in dire straits. In terms of martial prowess, he was no match for Wu Feng and He Ming. Weapons for employing underhanded tactics lay within reach on the bedside table. He had no guard up whatsoever. As for the idea of fleeing with a parachute, he was now down to his underwear. Flying away was simply out of the question. Chapter 164, Grand Finale. Wu Feng, let's talk things through, don't kill me just yet. The little Dragon King cast pleading eyes at Wu Feng. Humph. Wu Feng snorted coldly, slowly drawing out his military knife. Meanwhile, Haiming also unsheathed his own military knife, and the two of them closed in on the little Dragon King from both sides. Don't kill me, I still have value, the little Dragon King pleaded, I hold an important piece of information. Oh? Suddenly, Wu Feng became interested and asked, what important information do you have? Let's hear it. The little Dragon King replied, 3 days from now, my father, Tyrannosaurus, will personally arrive in Qin City. At that time, he will wipe out everyone in one fell swoop. Keeping me alive will give you leverage. Ha ha ha. Wu Feng laughed, then turned to ask Haiming, do you think he's still useful? He seems somewhat useful. Haiming nodded. A glimmer of hope appeared on the little Dragon King's face, but then Haiming swiftly added, however, he also seems rather useless. You. The little Dragon King gnashed his teeth in anger. But at this moment, he was like a fish on the chopping board, completely at the mercy of others. Wu Feng said, I'll spare your life, but don't think it'll be easy for you. As soon as he finished speaking, Haiming stepped forward and stabbed the little Dragon King in the thigh. The little Dragon King let out a piercing scream like a slaughtered pig. Immediately after, Haiming's knife plunged into the other thigh of the little Dragon King. Ah! The little Dragon King continued to scream, then promptly passed out. Wu Feng said, cut his tendons. Yes. Haiming nodded, immediately moving to carry out the order. Meanwhile, Wu Feng took out his phone and called Black Ming, who was currently in the Middle East. Black Ming was not only Haiming's elder brother, but also Wu Feng's most trusted subordinate from the past, and currently one of the 10 leaders. Of course, in Black Ming's eyes, Wu Feng would always be the king, the uncrowned king. Hey, boss. Black Ming received Wu Feng's call, appearing very excited. Wu Feng didn't beat around the bush and went straight to the point, have you located the Bloodhand's exposition? At the moment, we can only confirm it's in the Western Pacific. The specific location is still under investigation. Black Ming promptly reported to Wu Feng. Since Guoxian Cheng had an accident, Wu Feng had secretly instructed Black Ming to find out the Bloodhand's sex location. But now, it seemed that time was running out. After all, Tyrannosaurus would arrive in Qin City in 3 days. For Wu Feng, he was no longer willing to wait. Instead of being passive, it was better to take the initiative. No need to continue the search. Wu Feng said, I have someone here who will lead us to the Bloodhand's sex lair. Who is this person? Can we trust them? Black Ming inquired. Wu Feng replied, the son of the Bloodhand's sex Tyrannosaurus, the little Dragon King. In that case, there's no problem with this matter. Black Ming immediately said, the 10 temple warriors are ready to follow your command at any time. Wu Feng decisively stated, tomorrow afternoon, gather at Starhorse Tai, then rent a boat to the Western Pacific, find the Bloodhand sect, and wipe them out in one fell swoop. Yes. Black Ming shouted loudly on the other end of the phone, we'll ensure the mission is completed. That's it. Wu Feng hung up the phone, then called out, Haiming, take the little Dragon King with us, we're leaving the country now. Now. The little Dragon King was shocked, but the little Dragon King is seriously injured, how do we arrange this? Wu Feng smiled, you don't need to worry about that, I'll take care of it. Understood. Haiming nodded, first helping the little Dragon King stop the bleeding. Meanwhile, Wu Feng called Euro, laying out his plan. Euro was naturally extremely shocked, but he also understood Wu Feng's character. Once he decided to do something, there was no turning back. I can't stop you, but you must be extra careful on this trip. Euro advised. I understand, I'm well aware. Wu Feng nodded. That night at midnight, Wu Feng, accompanied by Haiming and the little Dragon King, flew out of the country on a private jet. By daybreak, they had already set foot on the soil of Starhorse Tai. After a brief rest, they welcomed Haiming's large force in the afternoon, more accurately described as the warriors of the 10 temples. They traveled aboard a retired warship, with the deck lined with a formidable array of 3,000 warriors, each a dominant force in their own right. Upon seeing Wu Feng, everyone shouted in unison, Hail, King Yin! Greetings, Lord Yin! Seeing Wu Feng again, Haiming knelt down excitedly. Rise! Wu Feng directly helped Haiming up. Haiming immediately welcomed Wu Feng into the cockpit, introducing him to the warship at the same time. the previously unconscious little Dragon King was awakened by someone. Where is this? The little Dragon King looked around in confusion. Wu Feng patted his shoulder. If you want to live, I'll give you a chance. Really? The little Dragon King was extremely excited. Yes. Wu Feng nodded. Now, lead us to the Bloodhand sect. As long as we find Tyrannosaurus, I'll let you go. This. The little Dragon King suddenly realized that he was currently on a ship surrounded by nothing but blue sky and sea. What are you planning? The little Dragon King looked at Wu Feng suspiciously, feeling a sense of unease. I intend to destroy the Bloodhand sect. Wu Feng said coldly. You. The little Dragon King was so angry he almost jumped up. But, having already had his tendons severed, he couldn't move a muscle. Wu Feng sneered, you can choose not to speak, or you can speak. There are two possibilities if you do. The first, we destroy the Bloodhand sect, and I might spare your life. The second, if the Bloodhand sect destroys us, your safety will be ensured by your father. Of course, if you don't speak, you'll die now. The little Dragon King shook his head, then said, I'll talk. I believe that as long as you dare to land on the island, you'll definitely meet a gruesome end. Ha ha ha. Wu Feng burst into laughter. Then, the little Dragon King revealed a sea coordinate. He Ming ordered the warship to move at full speed, heading straight for the destination. The location of the Bloodhand sect was called Skull Island. It was a desolate, uninhabited island, at least from the satellite view. In reality, dense jungles covered the island, inhabited by a group of people more terrifying than beasts. They were the members of the Bloodhand sect. They fought fiercely like beasts, each one ruthless and bloodthirsty. Emerging from the dense forest was a villa made of wood. The owner of the villa was Tyrannosaurus. At this moment, he sat on a wooden chair, anxiously watching the vast expanse of the sea beside him. Since the Bloodhand sect's resurgence, it had prospered. Not only did it wipe out nearby pirate forces, but it also gained immense wealth. However, what he had never expected was that his two attempts to infiltrate Qin City had failed miserably. This time, he had even sent his own son into the hands of the enemy. Tyrannosaurus spoke, Are you all ready? We're all ready, the disciples replied in unison. Good. Tyrannosaurus nodded, the journey to Qin City is extremely dangerous. We may lose our lives, but no matter what, I will fight. Willing to follow the sect master, to live and die together. Countless disciples knelt on the ground, bowing their heads to Tyrannosaurus. All right. Tyrannosaurus nodded, tomorrow, we will feast and set off collectively the day after. Yes. In the villa, thunderous shouts rang out that night. Tyrannosaurus was restless, unable to sleep. Until today, he had not been able to figure out who exactly Wu Feng was. If he was just an ordinary person, how could he be so powerful? The four great guardians were no match for him? All of this exceeded his expectations. In the early hours of the morning, Tyrannosaurus gradually fell asleep. Not long after, he was awakened by the sound of gunfire. One of his subordinates came to report, Master, someone has landed on the island. Be on full alert, come with me to fight the enemy. Tyrannosaurus immediately jumped out of bed, grabbing a gun and rushing out the door. At this moment, the entire island was engulfed in flames. Gunshots rang out everywhere, and the disciples of the Bloodhand sect were fleeing in disarray, unable to form a cohesive force. Tyrannosaurus was furious. He killed 2 people on the spot, boosting morale at 7 o'clock in the morning. The two sides engaged in fierce combat at Mount Jago. The 10 Temples warriors couldn't advance, and the Bloodhand sect disciples couldn't retreat. They were locked in a stalemate. At this point, Tyrannosaurus sent someone to inquire about the identity of the other side. Only then did they realize that it was Wu Feng who had come, accompanied by the 10 Temples warriors. The 10 Temples warriors, who had nearly wiped out the Bloodhand sect in the past. Kill them all for the revenge of the past disciples of the Bloodhand sect. Tyrannosaurus was completely enraged. A battle involving nearly 10,000 people ensued. After a whole day of fierce fighting, the Bloodhand sect was finally defeated and fled. The 10 Temples warriors searched the entire island for survivors. Meanwhile, Wu Feng, accompanied by He Ming and the little Dragon King, arrived at Tyr.